one day I was just chilling. Next day I wake up, I'm in jail. I'm just like, what's going on?
NBC4 Investigates is looking inside Franklin County's juvenile justice system and whether or not it's making the community safer. At 5, Jamie Ostroff sat down with the lead juvenile judge to talk about the programs the court uses to get young offenders on the right path.
So Jamie's back now to introduce us to one of the young people who went through this program, and you say he tells you it did change him.
Yeah, he did. Alejandro Rodriguez, who you just heard from there, was detained for almost 2 years from beginning to end of his case, something that is used as a last resort by juvenile judges to keep the community safe. Rodriguez showed me why it is such a difficult environment for kids.
So I actually used to be one of those kids. I used to think like, hey, I could do this. I'm not going to get caught. Like, so let's do this. And when I went to jail, whole different story.
21-year-old Alejandro Rodriguez had a challenging childhood.
I grew up around a lot of like shootings and stuff like that. So I feel like that impacted me a lot too.
How was school for you?
School, bad grades, missed a lot of days, etc. I was always wanting to not be at school.
At 16, he got in serious trouble.
My stepdad got deported. My mom was struggling to pay bills. And then I just felt like I was in a position to where like I gotta like stand up. So I just seen a group of people and I robbed them because I needed money.
Rodriguez spent 8 months in the Franklin County Juvenile Intervention Center while he waited for sentencing. Staying out of trouble there took effort, he says.
And everybody else around me, they was getting in fights and stuff like that.
But it was a decision he made early on that changed his life.
My whole point of view of the whole thing was like, I need to get better before I go back out there.
A mindset Rodriguez says placed him in the minority.
Not to sound cocky or anything, but I was wiser than most people in there because I feel like most of them was arrogant, short-tempered, stuff like that. Like they couldn't control a lot of emotions, and I've always like knew how to control my emotions.
Rodriguez credits the resources available through the juvenile justice system with getting him on the right track. For the first time, he enjoyed reading. He connected with his math teacher, and he learned some valuable lessons through a Division of Youth Services alternative program.
They teach you all that, and they teach you human health behaviors of like why the way like criminals think the way they think, and then they're like studying that stuff like kind of made me like, oh, this is kind of messed up, like what people are doing, and it gave me like more sympathy for other people as well.
And by the time his sentence was up, Rodriguez had support through the county's Juvenile Community Enrichment Services program, something juvenile lead judge Lachelle Stroud says has helped a lot of offenders since the court switched from traditional probation to this.
We now have specialists who act more as coaches for the youth and develop a case plan based on the individualized needs of that youth and family. So to know that you have another adult who is supportive and genuinely wants to help you.
Rodriguez tells me his specialist was there for him through a critical transition in his life.
She's like, this is what you need to do for yourself. And she actually helped me cut off old ends too as well. She said, she's like, you can't be hanging around the old people you used to hang around when you're out here, you know that, right?
And thanks to that advice,
I don't wasted too much time. I can't press rewind.
He's now singing a different tune.
Press decline. You'll be on my mind. Lately you've been my vibe.
Recording music to process emotions, starting his own roofing business.
Like all the things I'm working on right now, like it's giving hope.
And sharing that hope with the community.
Yeah, I feel like the system works just because I went in negative, came out positive on the other side. I'm just trying to be a better me. That's the moral of my story, I guess.
Now, Judge Stroud says programs like JSES and other efforts to divert young people away from detention have helped keep kids out of trouble. And studies have found that avoiding detention decreases a child's chance of committing another crime. Rodriguez did tell me, though, some of the kids he knew from juvenile detention were either suspects or victims of violent crimes shortly after they were released.